We are live for the last weekend possible to draft these pre-draft best ball tournaments. I will be your host, Rob Coakley. We're going to be drafting on DraftKings. Holidays do not slow us down by any means. And when I say holidays, of course, I am going to wish everybody a very, 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 very happy WrestleMania weekend. This contest on DraftKings looks like it is going to overlay. Let's just get right into all of this right now. Let's find a better little window here. So it is still 43,000 people away from filling, or 43,000 entries from filling. Let's just go ahead and jump into one. So if you're looking for a tournament to draft in, this is definitely one of the ones you should be firing. I'm gonna enter. Oh my God, disaster. Absolute disaster. We just want to enter. We just want to enter the tournament. So 3 out of 12. We need 9 more people. Took me way too long to do the math on that. Hopefully everyone is enjoying their weekend. It is a busy, busy weekend. We have Easter. Happy Easter to those who celebrate. We have NBA playoffs. Celtics are starting today. We are excited about that. What's going on, Olaf? AJ says he used to like me before he saw my outfit this morning. Well, I believe AJ, if I am correct, is a Lakers fan. And that's usually how people that are second best feel, right? Second best in terms of championships won are the Lakers. So understandable, I guess, for the hatred. But we're going to rock the Celtics today for the start of their playoffs this season. Going on Omega. And we're going to draft some NFL best ball. This contest obviously locks this Thursday because of the NFL draft. And then we'll be getting the regular drafts. We're one person away right now from this thing firing. So if you want to get in here with me, this is the time to do it, which also means it's time to start listening to some music. Of course, we are, where are we drafting? We're drafting from the 11th spot, which is good. We've been drafting. We just get the 101 way too much. We have to let some other people get there. Did anybody get in here with me? Omega Kings, maybe? Perhaps Omega King is the only one that made it in, but we'll still have a great draft. Good morning, Versier. Good morning. Yeah, Lakers got dismantled. I didn't get to watch any basketball yesterday. I had to finish filming something for a project, and you would think that I would have watched WrestleMania last night, but I did not. I finished filming, and then a friend of mine and myself went and saw the movie Sinners. So I am going to be doing a review on that movie. All I will say on this stream about it is definitely go see it and go in knowing the least amount you possibly can. If you haven't seen a trailer, if you don't know what it's about, just go see it. I very, very much enjoyed it. And I personally think it should win some awards. So that is my non-spoiler review without giving anything away of the movie Sinners. So that's where we're at. 14 seconds we'll be starting here. We'll be drafting at the 11 spot, which is, I kind of really like that spot. I'm getting ready to start firing a lot more drafts for sure. With the regular tournaments launching, I talked about this, I believe, in the lab, but I sort of gave myself a few months relatively off. I've mostly just been drafting on these Sunday streams. I drafted a lot less in the pre-draft phase this year. I've been drafting real heavy for the past 3 or 4 years, like constantly. So I personally just needed to step back for a little bit and take a bit of a breather. And it was good. I feel much better about drafting going into the season. It didn't mean that I wasn't thinking about drafts and strategy and all the fun stuff, but just wanted to give myself a little breather. I have to do that. Not that I play poker anymore, really, which is sad. I wish I could. I wish I had the time. But when I was playing poker more frequently, I would occasionally have to take some time away, like a couple weeks, and I would just have to focus on the thinking aspect. So I think for me, it was good. Might not have to do that again for another 2 years or so, but I definitely needed it this year. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with giving yourself a little bit of a break, pacing yourself, as some would say. We are about to be on the clock. Man, this 11 spot feels like you can just build such a great team. I'm obviously going to take Malik or Nico. Actually, let's see where we go here. All right, so let's take Nico. Let's see what little bastard does here. Thank you, motorcycle, for driving by. We appreciate that. And we get Ginty. That's what I wanted. Oh, I really wanted to get a Nico Ginty start here. So I am thrilled. I'm thrilled about the way this has started. 100% the way I wanted to start this draft. So I'm excited about that. I mean, the backup was probably Bowers there. Probably going to go Nico Bowers. If for some reason Tricky had decided to take like McCaffrey, or not McCaffrey, I guess if he had decided to take, if he decided to take McCaffrey or Bowers in this spot over Neighbors, I would have went Ginty first and just taking whoever was left of Neighbors, Collins, Thomas. So that was what I was looking at there. But getting Collins, like Nico is like, I like Nico over pretty much, like him and Neighbors are basically tied for me. And I have them over Lamb, Puka, and Amon-Ra overall. So I'll be having a lot of Nico Collins this year. That'll be the plan. Is Derrick Henry usually go on the 105? I didn't catch that. Each their own, right? Thank you. We will take it. We will take it. Take a Celtics win today, too. Over Orlando. Yeah, I wouldn't mind a Ginty Bowers start as well. If I get through this quick enough, I might fire a second. No promises. I haven't felt great this morning. So, see what happens with this draft, the speed of it. Maybe I won't fire another draft, but maybe we'll do like a bonus draft show. Tuesday night? Maybe before Hometown Ghost Stories, I'll fire up a draft stream. Perhaps. Perhaps Thursday. Perhaps Thursday before the draft. Get a couple drafts in. We shall see. We shall see. So the Derrick Henry drafter gets Achane as well. AJ Brown falling is nice. Some really good AJ Brown starts. K Sizzle is starting with Jamar Chase and Chase Brown. Getting that full Cincinnati exposure. And then goes James Cook. I don't think I'm drafting James Cook this year. Are you guys? Feel scary? Yeah, that's true versus here. I have to also take into account my personal schedule sometimes. That's why Wednesday is tough, because we have the lab on Wednesdays, which you should definitely all be joining the lab. I wasn't at the lab this past Wednesday. Not that anyone cares, but I was not there. I went to AEW was here in Boston, so I am fortunate enough to get to go to those shows as a guest. So I was at the AEW show on Wednesday, which was a lot of fun. Seats were not as great as usual, but that's okay. It was a great match. There was one great match. I mean, all the matches were pretty fine, but one of them was really well done. I think StreamYard messed with their volumes, because I'm usually at that level. That felt a little loud. A 3-hour lab? Jesus. Don't tell people that. They're going to be too intimidated to go. Oh, it's a good time of year to have the lab. For sure. Huh. Well, I think some people are auto-drafting here, so we might not be able to get some of the stuff that I was looking at. See Mike Evans go. I think Tricky. Tricky seemed like they might have been auto-drafting. I'm not 100% sure. They were grabbing best available for their first 2 picks, if I recall correctly. Yeah, they just go McLaurin, which kind of sucks. I was trying to sneakily go with the stack there. I think we'll grab Garrett Wilson. Late 3rd round Garrett Wilson seems fine. 1st round Garrett Wilson, not for me. Late 3rd round Garrett Wilson, more my speed. That gives us Gene T. Collins, Garrett Wilson. First year is telling me to pull up Kittle. I don't think we're going to pull up Kittle. I don't think I want to do it right now. Because I want to... Who did I want to draft? Did they go? I wanted to draft Marvin Harrison Jr. Shit, maybe we will pull up Kittle. All right, let's do it. Let's listen to the chat. Let's pull up Kittle. Let's get Gene T. Collins, Garrett Wilson, George Kittle. I wanted Marvin Harrison there. Happy Easter as well, James Young. More importantly, happy WrestleMania weekend. Happy Celtics playoff start day as well. There was a lot of yeeting last night. I've only had to catch clips of day one. Such a fraud. Yeah, we'll take Kittle there. That's fine. We took Kittle in honor of WrestleMania as someone that got into the mix in the last few days. Yeah, I think this is a good strategy, Omega. Pulling McBride up to the commonly paired Bowers guys seems really good as well. I've talked about the McBride thing where I am probably just going to be. He's going to end up being my own tight end specifically, unless he rises up, which he might start doing. But if he stays where he's typically been going, I'm just going to have more McBride than every other tight end because I like him and Bowers about the same, roughly. And you could just do there's a little bit more you can do with the maneuvering of Trey McBride. So that is going to be. Do you see a quarterback run starting here? Allen, Lamar went. Jaden Daniels. We see the Allen drafter grab Joe Burrow. So we got shenanigans happening from the 5 hole. So we need to make sure that we're aware that they could cause some sort of runs to happen on certain positions. So keeping that in mind, just kind of going to eyeball that situation to make sure that we don't get messed up here too much. Yeah, that's also fair. Versaire. Also fair. I guess, like, obviously there's paths to guys like that being my most owned tight end. Maybe I'm jumping the gun a bit by saying that it's definitely going to be Trey McBride because he is still a second rounder. There might be a pocket that I end up liking better, but I guess I'm just typically saying of, like, as much as I like Kittle and I'll have probably a slightly overweight stance on him, and some of these other guys, like in the quote unquote elite range, McBride is just a huge target for me. Not that Bowers isn't, but as I said before, we're just going to be able to do a little bit more with McBride. So that's sort of what I'm going to be looking at. All right, let's see what this Zimla 12 does here. We grab Mixon. So they have 3 running backs, 2 quarterbacks. Is Jaden Daniels QB1 this year? Definitely a possibility. For sure. He's like in the mix. He's a guy that I want to have a decent amount of exposure to. I think you just have to still sort of bet on Josh Allen being that. Like, Josh Allen's probably the favorite, but Jaden Daniels is right there. All right, we are coming up on the clock here. And we don't like it. We don't like this board too much. I'm going to grab Olave. Let's grab Olave. And I think the other pick here. I mean, I have my 2 picks. I don't think I'll get one of them. But one of the 2 should be here. See Waddle go. I think I'm just going to grab Ken Walker. Like, I think getting Ken Walker in the 6th round is nice. I am scared to death of what he might be in Seattle this year, but we're going to go there. We're going to pull the draft board back up. So we start Nico, Ginty, Garrett Wilson, George Kittle, Chris Olave, and Kenneth Walker III. We were going to grab Travion if we didn't get Walker, but Walker I like better overall for this particular year. This 10's hole is setting up nice with Malik. You get Bowers, McLaurin, Daniels. You get the full Washington double here. They get Najee Harris as their first running back, which I think is like fine as an anchor running back in the 6th round. I think that is totally fine. Baker going in the 6th round. Baker's been going really high, and I like Baker, but 6th round Baker, I am going to say no thank you to this year. Like, what is the schedule outcome we want? Do we need them to play the Panthers like week 15, 16, and 17? We need them to add another game. We need them to add a 3rd game and just be like, can we just have them play the entire playoffs? They tend to play week 17 though. I think 2 of the last 3 years, Tampa, Carolina has been a week 17 game. So it's like Tampa, Carolina, Minnesota, Green Bay tends to be the week 17 games. Yeah, I mean, but as much as I feel the same way about this, James, and James is bringing up that Olave's concussion, seems like he's one serious decision about his career. Just done this enough now that I've had that thought about guys in the past. Brandon Cooks comes to mind, where I thought Brandon Cooks just shouldn't even put a helmet back on. Obviously, we think that about Tua as well, but it's just from what it looks like, it's still not our call, and these guys still play. So if they're going to continue to play, we just have to draft them. We are not head doctors, as much as I've tried to be one in the past with guys that I brought up amongst others, where I'm like, dude, just don't play anymore. I'd rather you just not play. It's not our choice. And they decide to keep suiting up, so we have to take what we think is the value, and you're getting that baked into his price a little bit, I believe. Like, I think he's better than a 5th round pick. Like, I would rather have Olave over. I mean, I guess 5th might be fair this year, but there's some guys I'd rather have him over. Like, I'd definitely rather have him over Sutton. I don't know about Debo. Debo's going to be a falling knife candidate for when I create that video. That's going to be like my main thing that I work on in the next, once the schedule is released and once the ADP for the regular tournaments settles. I think that is going to be a video that I create for sure. All right, we're going to be on the clock here in a second. All right, so we don't have a quarterback. We are pretty much like got a whole starting roster otherwise, so we're pretty open to doing a bunch of different things here. Oh, they scared me. They showed me on like 0 seconds. I was like, dude, I haven't even had a pick yet. Let's take Diggs. God, it feels so gross. I'm just gonna do it. I'm not gonna be doing it a ton this year. Pickens is probably the better pick. I would not be shocked if we get a Pickens trade during the draft as well. I know it's like not getting talked about, probably not happening, but I wouldn't be shocked if Pickens gets shipped out of Pittsburgh. And let's grab Jalen Warren as well. That feels good. JT Walker, Jalen Warren. We have Nico, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Steph Diggs. I mean, clearly Nico is our explosion wide receiver guy. We might need to find some more of those later in the draft. Perhaps Pickens would have been a better pick. Oh my God, cancel me. Here, with having Olave, Wilson, Nico, perhaps Pickens is a better play. And then we can either still go Warren or another RB or still Diggs if we wanted to. I'm really not a Diggs guy, but I'm trying to make sure that he is the type of guy in the past that I would have 100% just stone faded easily. And I think there's merit to that in some cases, but in the correct builds, and I'm not even saying this is the correct one, perhaps I want to draft him a bit. But like if we look at who's going, like why are we taking Pickens after McMillan and Shakir? Like that's insanity to me. Pickens should, in theory, be going before Diggs as well. I just knew I wanted to try to get Warren, and I just didn't want to double up on Pittsburgh. Yeah, but his timetable, from what the reports are, that he looks like he's going to be fine to start the year. Speculation, though, right? Like all of that is speculation at this point in time. So we're going to see his draft spot fluctuate. Is my love for Kyler making McBride exposure higher? No. I like Kyler, and I think Kyler is probably the best priced quarterback in drafts. But I don't feel like I need McBride to draft Kyler. It's just more about the maneuverability of Trey McBride, being able to move him up and down this second round and sort of get so many different pairings with him. But because I want so much Kyler McBride, like in terms of just like I would love to be 8% on that stack, that means that you're going to have to be probably 16% on both of those players to have the correct number. We talk about like 8% is standard for a player, and like yes, theoretically 8% is standard for a player. What I want to dive into and figure out is if you really like a stack, like if you really like Kyler McBride, you want to have a healthy exposure of that, then clearly you want to be overweight on that. So is 16% actually like level because you want to try to have 8% of them stacked together? Do you also want to have 8% of Kyler with other stacking partners and 8% of McBride sort of on his own? So these are the things that I'm going to be thinking of as I figure out who my favorite stacks are and what I want to do exposure wise with them. So that's something I'm going to be diving into this year as well. Hopefully that makes sense. I know my brain like is very strange. So that is what I'm looking at. That is the way that I'm looking through some of this. So this guy did end up going on auto, which does not shock me. Okay. I think this is going to be a good spot for us to take Fields here. Grab Fields. And I also think what just happened? He grabbed Stroud. I was going to grab Field Stroud. That's funny. Okay. So let's grab Tyler Warren. Kittle and Warren are our two tight ends. We're done at tight end. Yeah, I like Kirk on the Texans this year as well. Like, I think he's fine. Yes, and I also reject the 8%. I mean, I think like we just know that flat exposure is 8%. I don't think it means you should have 8%. I guess like the theory that I'm instilling is across drafts, people are going to have like 8% of guys in theory. Like if it's flipping a coin sort of. They are drafted 8% of the time to players. I'm not explaining this right. But like how do we vary our 8% and what should we be doing with guys we want overexposure to? So, and then there's a Christian Kirk talk going on where I also like Christian Kirk on Houston. And then James says flat 8% exposure equals limited ball knowledge, scared to take a chance. I think if all of your players are like floating in that range, right, that is true. I think there are guys that I want to just be average on that I'm fine with. Like, take a Chris Godwin, for example. I like Chris Godwin. He's fine. I want to hover around 8% Chris Godwin. But around him, like let's say that Xavier Worthy is my favorite player in this range, then I know I want to be 16 to 20%, something like that. I'm okay if my Godwin exposure comes in at 6 or 10% because of that, like depending on what I'm doing in that range of the draft. I'm also okay coming in at 0% if I don't like someone. I am not drafting Jalen McMillan probably in the 8th round this year. I like Jalen McMillan as a player. I don't like 8th round Jalen McMillan on the Tampa Bay Bucks as constructed. Khalil Shakur, no thank you. Right? Like these type of guys, just too rich for my blood. Happy Easter to you as well, AJ. The Celtics will not lose. Celtics will not lose today. They cannot. I'm wearing Celtics clothing. They cannot lose on a day that I am actually wearing a Celtics shirt. Yeah, DK ADPs are wild. But if you're with me on drafts this year, we'll be doing probably mostly DraftKings and drafters. I will not be doing a ton of underdog stuff this year. I do not think. Personally. All right, so we're just going to take Drake May to go with Steph Diggs. We're about to be on the clock again. I really want to get a receiver here. It's really gross. We probably made a mistake somewhere. Let's get it. Let's get a boom bust guy. Let's get Mims. I feel like we have built the type of team that Mims is acceptable with like solid production guys like Wilson, Olave, Diggs. I think that we are okay getting a guy like Mims on this team. So I will take Mims. I think it's fine. Yes, we had to grab Drake May. I think this is like the range of QBs that when I grab Fields and May, I'm okay going into the season with these two guys. But if I think there's a value for a late third quarterback, I'm still open to taking them. So I'm in a position where I'm fine with two quarterbacks. I'm definitely not taking another tight end. I can still take that third QB if I want with Fields in May. Yeah, if I want to go Milrow, like these are the ways that I will be taking guys like Milrow and Jackson Dart and stuff, is when I have like a Fields May start. So it won't be common for me, but these are the ways that I will get there. It's not going to be my preferred drafting style, but it doesn't mean that I hate it either. I'm excited for the draft this week. This is a fun week. Starting with this weekend with the NBA playoffs starting, with all the stuff we have going on. Do enjoy this week. The NFL draft. Man, I had such I haven't placed any bets on the draft this year. I crushed one really good pick last year. I felt so smart. I took Joe Alt at like plus 400 or something to the Chargers. It just felt so obvious that they were going to take an offensive lineman, and Alt was being like touted as this phenomenal, like almost generational offensive line talent, but people were mocking someone else to them. I'm just like, I'll just take the guy that they think is going to be the best. We would have loved Trey Benson to fall back to us here. He does not, and that is fine. This feels like a really good time to take Ray Davis. So let's do that. I didn't even see your message until after I took him versus here. Did not even see your message until after that. Do we bet on Leggett just becoming something in year two? I think I'm going to take some Leggett. I don't love it, but let's do it. Let's do it. For Sarah's asking if anyone has any spicy plans or having friends over for the draft. I'm not. I actually think that the first round is going to be, for like what we're looking for, is going to be very boring this year. Probably. Compared to past years. So I don't know. Maybe I'll talk to Eric. Maybe we'll do a Discord hang or something like that. I think that would be something we could maybe arrange, unless he has plans. I don't know. Maybe we'll do a Discord hang. I'll talk to him this week, tomorrow, something like that. Figure it out. I think Dobbins is probably a really good pick in this range right now, too. Like 14th round Dobbins. We know he's going to sign somewhere at some point, and he's going to get some work, and he's just going to come in and probably get a ton of carries. And if it's during the offseason, season, he's going to jump up quite a bit. If it's an injury related or something like that, it's a weird year for a player like him with all of the rookie running backs that everybody likes. But I think that grabbing some Dobbins now will, like, for these drafts, whatever, these are coming to a close. You're not going to get any value on 14th round J.K. Dobbins in these drafts. I still think he's a good pick in these drafts, but when the new tournaments open, I think the one thing you want to start doing is targeting guys like a Dobbins that is going to have potential to either rise up or just be extremely undervalued throughout the whole thing. Like a guy like Jerome Ford, he's either going to rise or drop immediately because of the draft. This guy is 2.652 right now. Oh no, sorry, that's you, Omega. You are fine. What I was looking at was 3.633, where he had 3 quarterback, 3 tight ends, 6 running backs, and only 3 wide receivers. Sometimes I can't read columns. I knew there was something weird going on over there. Like, Algier is a great pick in the 15th round. Like, what are we doing? We are on the clock here. Jalen Wright is pretty easy click for me. Continue to be an easy click for me. I mean, I don't love it, but we got to take Josh Palmer, right? Just take Palmer in the... Like, I don't like Josh Palmer a ton, but 16th round Josh Palmer in Buffalo, I guess, should have some of him. Which handcuff RB is the nuts this year? If you're asking me, which you are because you're in this chat, for this year, I am balls out on Trey Benson this year. I think at the moment, like, based on price, based on situation, at the moment, Trey Benson is, I think, one of the best picks on the board. And I'll just keep smashing the Trey Benson draft button. Now, could the draft change things? Of course. But I think that you're going to see, like, even so, like, as much as I like J.K. Dobbins, if there was a situation where Connor doesn't get injured, Benson doesn't get injured, and they still were to sign like a J.K. Dobbins, it wouldn't scare me too much off of Benson. I like Ray Davis as well, but Benson is my guy this year at the moment. I reserve right to change that based on what happens in the next week. I like Jalen Wright a lot too for Miami. I think getting that 15th round Jalen Wright, you can't go wrong with 15th round Tyler Algier. That's a criminal underpricing for Tyler Algier. And I'm like the biggest Bijan guy there is. But we know what that Falcons offense is, which allows for Algier to shine in a few moments. And he is going to take a ton of that work if something were to happen to Bijan. Now, I think Bijan's probably going to get his best career season this year. But if something goes a wire, Algier is going to get a ton of work. Just a ton of work. So that's sort of the way I'm looking at it. Personally, I'm not scared of Alexander Mattison. I'm just not. It just doesn't bother me. Madison just feels like veteran depth at this point for that offense. You could be right. If you're right, then Jalen Wright is just dead. He's just not a player. I mean, the NFL. If Alexander Madison is our concern and he can't get past Madison on the depth chart, then he's cooked for his entire career. So I'm not worried about Madison, though. Like, no thank you. No thank you. Does not bother me. All right, so we're 2572. I think we should grab Hill here. Let's grab Hill. You know what? That was a misclick. That was not who we should grab there. Shit. Ugh. That's what I get for not looking a little bit deeper. We should have grabbed Will Shipley, which we're going to do now. We should have went Shipley Dart. Should have been the picks there. But because we went Justice Hill, we're going to grab Will Shipley as well. Because Shipley should be the play there. Dart is definitely a luxury pick. So Hill Shipley is not terrible by any means. I'm fine with that pick. Overall, to go 2772 at the moment. Get our 7 running backs, which is fine. We get Shipley. We're not going to get Dart now. Dart's going to go, but Dart was a luxury pick. At the moment, Eddie. I mean, I still wouldn't be shocked if they added an RB in the draft and Justice Hill just disintegrates into nothing. But I think he's a fine pick in the 18th round right now. I think there are outcomes where he does. That's my thought process there. That's what we're looking at. I don't disagree, Versier. I was a Madison guy for a long time, but Marshawn Lloyd's a good pick too. I continuously forget about Marshawn Lloyd this year. One of my most drafted running backs. My most drafted running back last year. Does anyone remember? Does anyone remember my most drafted running back last year? Was not Bijan, as much as I wanted it to be. It just would have been impossible. It was an absolute smash. Bucky Irvin was my most drafted running back last year. Sharbs, I think, was 2, but Bucky Irvin was 1. Felt really good about that. It was Bucky, Sharbs. Bijan was 3 or 4, I think. Don't remember offhand exactly. Chase Brown was up there. Chase Brown might have been 3. I don't remember the order after Bucky and Sharbs, but it was like Bucky, Sharbs, Chase Brown, Bijan, and there was a definite miss in there too. I can't remember who the miss was. Chuba was such a good pick last year. All right, we're going to be on the clock here in a second. We are on the clock. Oh, we get Dart. So we do get Dart. I think we're just going to grab Dart here. I like that. 19th round Dart. 20th round AD Mitchell. Sure. Feels fine. So we end up drafting We went Nico, Ginty, Garrett Wilson, George Kittle, Chris Olave, Kenneth Walker, Steph Diggs, Jalen Warren, Justin Fields, Tyler Warren, Drake May, Marvin Mims, Ray Davis, Xavier Leggett, Jalen Wright, Josh Palmer, Justice Hill, Will Shipley, Jackson Dart, and A.D. Mitchell. I like this team overall. I think it's solid. I think we get, I mean, like my one like felt like a teeny mistake was not taking Shipley over Hill, but it ends up working out because we get 3 players we wanted in that. Anyways, we're not going to do another draft today. I'm just not feeling as great as I would like to. But yeah, we got what we wanted here. This was a good draft. I'm gonna try to do another draft stream before the NFL draft this week. I feel like we should maybe do Thursday. Maybe we'll do Thursday leading into the draft. We'll fire a couple of these on DraftKings. That might be the play for me. But thank you guys for hanging out with me on Easter. I want to let you guys get to your Easter stuff. Recipes with Reed wants me to rate his draft. So I'm guessing you're a Reed Spencer. That would check out, right? So you go CD, you go Drake, London. We pound 3 running backs with Jacobs, Brees Hall, and Chuba Hubbard, Pearsall, Jaden Reed, George Pickens, Jordan Mason, Dak, Penix. So you get your stacks for your top 2 receivers. You get Tootin. I think your first big 2 missed for me. Like if your idea is to go Jacobs, Hall, Hubbard, and then you're grabbing Jordan Mason in the 9th, you're getting 2 quarterbacks with Prescott and Penix. I think I would have been looking receiver here and here. I would not be adding Bryce Young to Dak and Penix. I would have stuck at 2. Personally, I would have stuck at 2 quarterbacks there. Would have turned at least one of these into a wide out. Possibly, maybe your tight end. Maybe we bump the tight end up, although you didn't really lose anything here in terms of what you could have got for a tight end. So, like, that's not terrible. Like, you're fine overall there, I guess. But I probably would have made these receivers. Then maybe we're bumping up some of your tight ends. I think this is problemized. I think it's an overall fine draft for me. I'm not saying that starting with heavy running backs is bad. I think it's viable if you do it properly. I think Mason is probably a fine pick here, but I would not be adding Tootin. I'd be waiting for these back end running backs if I wanted to grab more running backs. So I wouldn't be adding Tootin. I wouldn't be adding Bryce, which would allow these positionals to slide up and be a bit stronger. And then you're pushing back those running back picks, if that makes sense. Case Sizzle is in the one hole and wants to look. Let's look. We'll do this. We will look at another thing here. We'll look at Case Sizzle is the one that started with Jamar Chase and Chase Brown, investing quite a bit into Cincinnati here. I personally don't like James Cook as a pick, but that's a personal preference. So I don't think it's like bad, because the way you should be sort of rating these is based on your structure. So I personally would have drafted Bucky over James Cook. But if you like James Cook, then like there's no argument. Then you go receiver, which I think is good. You grab Mahomes, Kelsey. Oh, I don't like the Pacheco pick. I think Pacheco's the worst pick on the board. So, I think you should be going receiver here. Probably. And if you are going running back, I think Pacheco is the worst pick on this board overall. You want went heavy Kansas City stuff, which is fine in general. Like Hollywood's fine, Bateman's fine, Blakely's fine. I'm gonna guess you added another tight end. Yeah, I would not. You added 2 more tight ends. Probably not great on that front. I would not be adding 2 more tight ends. I probably would have grabbed Henry if you wanted to go 3. Sure, like that's fine. The 4th tight end to handcuff Kelsey is just like you're wasting, especially in these drafts when you can get guys that have tremendous upside at other positions. Would not be grabbing a 4th tight end. Sticking to 2 quarterbacks is good for this. The 4 tight ends is probably bad. You're handcuffing. So here's the other problem with the Pacheco thing. You grab Pacheco, you handcuff him with Kareem Hunt. So I'm not even against handcuffing running backs, but when you're handcuffing Pacheco with Kareem Hunt, and this is a team that could still be adding another running back in the draft, you might have just drafted 2 players that are trying to fill 1 position that might fill 0 positions. So I think if Kelsey was going to retire, he would have already retired, but you might see a reduced role. So I think that there's just some structural things that I would fix here, but I think that's why these drafts are great, because you can work through these before the main drafts come. I would not have gone 4 tight ends. I would have down throttled some of this Kansas City stuff. I would not have handcuffed Pacheco with Hunt personally. Do like some of these picks. I think Javonte Williams around here is fine. They're going to be adding a running back, but I still think Javonte could be viable. So like that's a fine pick. Stafford might be. I know you got Whittington, I think, late, right? Who else was available? When you don't have Puka or Devontae Adams, and you don't have another stacking partner, these are the times that instead of taking Stafford, I would have taken Cam Ward, or I would have rather have taken Bryce Young over Stafford and gotten one of Bryce Young's stacking partners. Personally, would be the way I would have played that. So these are like little nitpicky things that just I personally would have done. I just think like if you're looking at this overall, don't worry about my little nitpicky personal things. Look at it from a structural perspective. The 4 tight ends is probably bad. Handcuffing your tight end is bad, especially if your concern is because he might retire. Because then if you thought that was still a possibility, why are we drafting Travis Kelce in the 7th round? Like that just like you're sort of fighting yourself there. Handcuffing a running back with another running back on a team that might draft one is not great. And you probably like this start is fine, but there should have been a receiver here. So you should have probably had Hollywood, Golden, Downs, like one of those 2, right? So down here. Yeah, so you should have had like Hollywood and Golden. So I hope that makes sense. Like I'm not trying to shit on your team. We all need to tighten up before the main drafts come. And these are the things that I'm looking at. So when you're evaluating your teams, you should be looking at it from a structure. Like, does the structure make sense? And then your player takes can be whatever. Like I said, Chase, Brown, Cook, and then hitting wide receivers is perfect. That's like the type of structure you should be going with. If you want to get nitpicky about players, like I personally don't like James Cook, but fuck, I could be wrong about that. Who cares? Who cares what I think about James Cook at the moment? Just because I would like Bucky over James Cook, like that's just like absolute nitpicking. I think what you need to be looking at is structure. So I hope everyone has a good, solid Sunday. Watch basketball, do some drafts, watch WrestleMania, enjoy time with your family, eat a ton of food, I'll catch you next time. We'll be back. I plan to be back next Sunday if there's some sort of drafts to be had. And if not, maybe we'll just hang. I don't know. I'll try to figure it out. But I'll catch you then. Peace. Woo! Those were some spicy takes. Want to stay up to date with all of the other spicy takes we're going to have over here at Spike Week? Why don't you press that subscribe button below? You turn notifications on, we draft a team, boom, you know about it. We have another spicy take, boom, you know about it. You can be there. You can draft with us. You want to stay up to date? That's how you do it. All right, we'll catch you later next time here at Spike Week.